Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is the most wonderful time of the year, and I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you today. We continue our 52-year journey through film. This week brings us to 2019. We have done every fucking Friday for the entire year of 2022. Every Friday we have put out a podcast discussing a movie. That first day of 2022 from 1970. Every Friday after that, a movie from each succeeding year, 71 to all the way through the 70s, all the way through the 80s, all the way through the 90s, all the way through the aughts, all the way through the 10s to what is now the conclusion of a decade in the 2010s. We got 2019's Parasite. And it's almost time for those awards next week, my friend.
Wow.
Almost time. We're already back around. We're already back around to the end of another decade. And what's this? 5? It's going to be 5 decades in the books? 70s, 80s, 90s, aughts, and 10s?
The 5th decade of movies, man.
We put in work, Bo.
Yeah,
we put in work.
We're almost there.
Give us our love.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Almost
we
done.
We got 3 more. 3 more movies after this.
Nuts. But let's focus on the task at hand. It is 2019's Parasite, written by Bong Joon-Ho and Han Jin-woon, and directed by Bong Joon-Ho. This is amongst my favorite movies of all time. It has been since the first time I watched it. It won the best motion picture of the year at the Oscars. And I remember being like, all right, well, then I guess I got to check it out. I've heard nothing but good things. It's now won best picture. Let's check this shit out. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. Give me your thoughts, because this was a first viewing for you, correct?
Yeah, complete first viewing. I've heard very little about the movie. The only real stuff that I knew going into it was that it was VFX heavy, but you didn't know it while watching the movie at all, and I completely agree with that. Not a single time was I like, whoa, what a crazy VFX shot. It was like, that all just looks like it was captured in camera. Yeah, but like a lot of it is blue screen. That's like all I knew. And I didn't know, like, I had no idea what route this movie was going to go. And then the turns it just took were insane.
There comes a point in this movie, they've infiltrated. The family is in the house. They have taken the jobs. They are living life. They've gone out of town. They're going camping for the night. They get to stay there. They get to have the home to themselves. This is their night to live it up. From that point on, the tone the movie takes from the second the old housekeeper shows up.
Oh,
it's a whole new movie. The first half of the movie is this fun heist comedy sort of vibe where they're like, slowly get working their way in.
I know a perfect someone.
Yeah. And the way this movie unfolds is so impeccably well done, and it's almost one that it feels like, for our TV shows we cover, we go with like the scene by scene breakdown. It almost feels like, obviously we're not going to do that. It'd be absurd for a 2 hour and 20 minute movie, but it almost feels conducive of that, because you simply have no way of knowing where it is going to go unless you've seen it.
Yeah, there was, I mean, I'm like, okay, oh, so they're all just gonna, work for this family. I'm like, okay, this is funny. And I'm like, I just thought that it was just gonna be kind of lighthearted the whole way through, and then like, then the twists start happening. And I'm like,
and there's like
it's
a specific
this kind of movie.
There's a specific moment too. Like the housekeeper shows up and she's like, "I left something here. It's under the kitchen in the basement." And you're like, "Okay, no big deal. Go ahead and grab it." And she stands in front of the rectangle, the black rectangle that is the entrance into the abyss. And the mother of the family is like, "What do you need to get?" And she's like, she does the slow turnaround over her left shoulder and goes, "You want to come with me?" And it's like, nope, I don't. I really, really don't.
That
from that point on, you're like, oh, this is a different movie. She goes all the way downstairs. You're like, what the? They reveal the door. You're like, no, what the hell's going on here? What is this shit?
At first, I'm like, is this dad into some weird stuff? And he is like. I'm like, at first I'm like, what's down here? Is this some secret lab? Some sort of like I don't know what I'm about to walk in on. I'm thinking like, I don't know. Because then I was thinking like what the point of the title was the whole time. And I didn't know if there was some sort of like recurring cycle that kept happening to where like, I don't know. Like it just...
There is, in a very, very metaphorical sense. Parasite is not quite literal. And it starts with this family who we see in the very, very beginning of the movie working folding pizza boxes for a pizza company. Someone's coming down the street spraying pesticide, and he tells them to leave the windows open because it's free. You can tell they're down on their fucking luck in this semi-basement, what they call the semi-basement. And
rough.
The way they see their rise, and it's very quick in the movie that they start to, find their footing with this family, which is nice. You get like the first hour of this movie plays out pretty, not slow, but like it's all very methodical. It's all very well placed, and on rewatches, I cannot emphasize enough how much foreshadowing there is. It's extremely subtle, so well done, and so methodical.
The Rock, like every time, like I don't know what I thought that this was gonna be some magical rock. Like I legitimately the whole time I'm like, when's this rock gonna come into place? Dude carried it in this crate, and I'm like, okay, something special about this rock, and then it's just used to bash in his own head, basically.
And what the guy tells him that it represents. It represents wealth. It represents success. It brings good fortune, and that's he latches onto it. The son, Kevin, his English name as he has come to know, Kevin, is carrying around this rock because if he can hold on to it, he'll be good. Everything will be all right if this is what happens.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what's awesome about this movie is that it's a class critique. It's all about the lower class being exploited by the upper class. The upper class not directly pitting the lower class against each other, they say on multiple occasions, and there's different levels to it. The way the dad of the family, played by Song Kang-ho, his character was Mr. Kim. The way he's like, they're nice people. They're nice people. What happens if they see that video? They're nice people. They don't deserve that. Don't do that to them. And then on the more extreme level, the guy who's been in the basement for 4 years, literally worshiping Mr. Park. Respect Mr. Park.
Yeah.
It's this twisted, it's so interesting because they never do anything to vilify the rich people. Not necessarily. You know, like they are truly just existing the way that they exist. And at points, obviously, it is a little like, come on now, you fucking classist fucks. The way it smells like a subway. The people who ride the subway have a certain smell, etc. Like,
yeah.
So like they were not above classism. Don't get me wrong. They certainly were classist, but they weren't outright hateful. You know, there are moments as well with when Mr. Kim is driving him. And he looks back. He looks back. He's like, keep your eyes on the road. Like, this is your fucking job. We're not friends. We're not going to be friends because you do work for me.
Yeah.
I use you for your labor. That's what I do.
Even, like, at the end, when he was like, I'm paying you extra. Just consider this part of your job, you know?
When he's trying to relate to him a little bit. He's like, you do love your wife, you know? Like, this, you do this for your wife. I admire and respect that, etc. But you can also tell he's kind of poking at him. Like, I know you don't fuck with your wife. I know she's a trophy wife. You know, like I know what this is. And him being like, this is your job. Don't talk to me like you know me.
Yeah.
It's painful. It's painful to watch, man. And it's so well executed, so well shot, so well written, so well acted. There's I struggle to find a single flaw in this movie. Like, I don't think there is one.
What is the genre of this movie?
Genre bending as all fuck. Dude.
Like, bits of horror. Like, not horror, but like...
Suspense.
Yeah, that's better.
Suspense, a little bit of a thrill. Comedy. Certainly comedy. Yeah. A lot of it was funny.
Comedy, drama, thriller. That's pretty good. Yeah.
What's incredible, though, is those are not genres that usually work together.
Yeah. That's true. Comedy, drama, thriller. Think of another comedy thriller. It's like Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, you know, to
strike that balance is so difficult. Because if you go too far in one direction or the other, typically. If you go hardcore thriller, it's probably not going to be that funny. If you go comedy, it's not as thrilling. The way that this and the effectiveness is that it does take a tonal switch like halfway through the movie. After a certain point, there's not much about it that's funny.
Yeah. No.
After a certain and because it's become startlingly clear what the dynamic is here, and it's an electric movie to watch, man. Like, especially for the first time. I remember, I mean, it has me laughing at points. It has me on the edge of my seat. The ending made me cry the first time I watched it. I don't know if it had the same effect on you. But
I was just like, whenever the dad kills Mr. Kim.
Mr. Park, yeah.
Park. Or
Mr. Kim kills Mr. Park.
Kills Mr. Park. I was hoping that it would be like in his head, and it was just what he was wanting to do, and it would like snap back to reality. Like, I'm like, okay, when's that gonna happen? Like, when's that gonna? And I'm like, it's not happening. I'm like, okay, nope, this is really happening right now. And then like it just kept going.
And I love that part of the movie because it's not. Like I said, they don't do anything to vilify the rich folks in this movie. They don't make them villains. They make them, I mean, I'd consider them antagonists. You know, like, I'd consider them, like, if there's anybody in this movie here, like, really, fuck you, it's them, obviously. But, like, they're not bad people, you know? I think the mother says it best, Chung-suk. She says, she's not nice and rich. She's nice because she's rich.
Yeah.
If I had all this money, I'd be the nicest person in the fucking world. And then she like shoves the dog, which is hilarious.
Yeah. What's up with that, man? That was like the only part of the movie where I'm like, yo, they actually shoved that dog. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Well, could be a VFX shot, actually. Who knows?
Could be. You never know with this movie.
Maybe
it was
they
just a tennis
shove,
ball.
Yeah.
She just shoved. But that's what's great about this movie is that no one is purely good, but no one's purely bad. They just are. You know what I'm saying? Like the way when they are staying in the house for that night, and he's like, the driver that was here before me. What was his name? He probably got a job, right? He probably got a job after this. He probably found some work, and he's probably doing just fine. And then the daughter's like, nah, fuck that. Worry about us. We're the ones who need help. We need to worry about us. And frankly, Ki Jung, the daughter's played by So-Dam Park, is my favorite character in this movie.
She owns that art teach, like
the art therapist.
No. I need to do this alone. You know, like...
I'll need you to leave the room.
I want to speak to Madame.
I don't teach under supervision.
I want to speak to Madame alone. Sorry. Go away, please. I will need 4 sessions a week, and my rate will be very high.
This isn't just teaching. This is therapy. You know, he needs it. Therefore, my rate will be extremely high. You see this little black spot here that he scribbled on everything? It's a sign that he has schizophrenia. And what's actually interesting is what that black spot ended up being a representation of is the doorway, where he watches the dude peek up.
Oh my god! Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff like that.
I was wondering if whenever it first shows the painting, if that spot isn't there, and if she added it herself. To explain it. I was wondering if it actually was like there the first time as well.
No, there is truly something to it being like meaningful. Like it did have a meaning to him. It's just not it's not a sign of schizophrenia or anything.
Am I crazy in saying that this had like a Jordan Peele feel to it?
No, you're not. You're not crazy at all. I think that there's this if this has more overtly horror tones, it very well could have been a Jordan Peele flick. You know, I think if this is an American movie where the rich folks are white people and the people who are working for them are people of color, then yes, very for sure this becomes a Jordan Peele flick very fast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Once you add the race element to it, it becomes a little bit more Peele-esque, I would say. He's done a very, very good job with that. But yeah, this was an incredible movie. Bong Joon-Ho has an impeccable style. There's a couple things I want you to like look for on rewatches in the future. The amount of times the screen has a line down the middle. On one side will be one of the rich people. On one side will be one of the poor people. Happens a lot across the course of this movie. When they go to the rich folks' house, it is always ascending. They are always going upstairs. They are always heading upward. Whenever they head back home, there is nothing but descent. They head down that hill. They head down the long column of stairs until they are at the rock bottom, literally below ground, in a giant flood.
Dang.
There's a lot of just amazing, subtle visual cues in this movie. And there's even shots like very early on in the movie where that ominously dark doorway that they show in the middle of that shelving is the line that splits characters, you know. It is the middle centerpiece where, and like the music will go really tense, but you don't realize it unless you've seen the movie. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's ominous now. You know, like every time you watch Mr. Park come up the stairs at the beginning of the movie and the lights slowly coming on, every time you watch
I did not notice that at first. Like I noticed them turning on and off.
But there's no reason
not in a weird way.
Yeah,
I'm like,
they're just.
And then I didn't notice that like it only happened for him. Well, I guess he was the only one who really walked through there.
We do
that we see.
We do see Mr. Kim and the wife of Mr. Park. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. we do see them ascend the stairs. Young Kyo is the wife there. The trophy wife of sorts. We see them ascend the stairs once whenever they framed the old housekeeper for having TB, and they see her coughing real hard.
That is true. I went ahead. I put down Parasite for best direction.
That's correct.
And set design. The house, by the way, only that the first level is built. Everything above that is completely fake. Sky included, which is not kind of, I don't know.
Beautiful VFX work.
Yeah. And it's not even I think the best VFX is when you don't even know it's there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this is just kind of executed perfectly in that sense. It's a movie that doesn't need it. There's not a scene where you're like, oh, this is obviously fake. Done on a computer. It's like, oh no, this could all very well reasonably be captured in the camera.
Right.
And so that was really cool. While watching, but after that tone switch, I was just, my mind was racing. I was like, where is this going? What's the end of this movie gonna be like? And even at the end, they get you.
Yeah, they do.
I'm like, wait a minute. As the son is writing the letter to his dad, and it shows
him walk out.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
And and the way they do it, the way Bong Joon-Ho did this, so effective. The way he was and one day me and mom will be here, we'll be in the backyard, and all you will have to do is come up the stairs. And he walks outside and he gives him the hug, and they fade to black, and you're like, beautiful, wonderful ending to the movie. I love that. And then they fade it back in. They pan down again, top to bottom pan. Showing outside and panning down to Kevin, and he says, until then, so long. And you're like, oh, no. Oh, God.
How did he get him that letter?
He didn't.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the sad shit, is that he will never, the dad, that's what's the most unnerving about this ending, is that there is literally no sign of Mr. Kim being able to exist outside that basement ever again. He will forever live like that. The cycle continues. The debt collectors came for the last guy. He went and hid. He commits murder. He has to go and hide. He'll never come up again. It's just a really, really sad fucking movie. The more you reflect on it, the more just overwhelmingly devastating the story is. I lose my personal favorite character in the movie, the daughter, Ki-jung. She, first one to get stabbed. And when that happens, you're like, oh, no, please no. And
man,
the fact that at that point, they still don't know they're a family.
Yeah.
So whenever he's sitting there holding her chest wound, they're like, and this is also really shitty. They were already prioritizing their son's life over anybody else, which is fair. You if you're a parent, that's what you do. But to be like, you get the car. There's a girl bleeding out right here. Someone needs to do something about this.
Also, there's a murderous dude with the knife, literally fighting 2 feet away. And they're just like, okay. Yeah, he just stabbed a girl and is currently fighting our maid and our housekeeper. We still need you to get the car, though. I guess they did need to go. They got 15 minutes.
They got 15 minutes, yeah.
But,
and they did, don't get me wrong. Again, it's not vilifying them. You know, like it is. Even then, it's still not vilifying them, which is so effectively done. And I just really love this movie. I do think we've got a soundtrack nom for me. I love the Parasite soundtrack. There's an overwhelming amount of songs in this that are just brilliant. They're really, really fun to listen to. I think it's a part of that playlist that I've created, the movie and TV soundtracks playlist with like 2,000 songs. It's definitely a part of that.
Is there an artist or a composer to it?
Let me see. Know? I cannot recall off the top of my head.
Let's see. Parasite soundtrack by
Jung Jae II.
There it is. Put him down there.
Yeah, it was. It's incredibly well done. I do think we have I think we got a couple acting nods. It'll be hard to figure out who replaces what where, because I'm not sure. You know, I'm not entirely sure where everyone slots in terms of their actual supporting versus lead. You know, like the only lead I would say is Mr. Kim. It is like I think he is the lead actor, but beyond that, I feel like almost everyone else is supporting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any other lead actor or actress of the movie. If there is a lead actress, well, I don't know.
I would say probably the trophy wife.
Yeah.
She feels very prominent, but even then, I feel like she's a supporting role. Like I think that's the thing is that everyone else feels supportive. Like I don't think there is truly another lead. I feel like they do a really good job at centering Mr. Kim.
So I guess Mr. Kim,
Song Kang-ho,
if he is our only lead role, does he knock out any of these people that we currently have in here?
Here's my thing. I think it does. However, I don't know which it would knock out of our best acting category. I'm in a rough place where I'm looking through all of these, and I'm sad to say it. But I've got two that are teetering here that I feel like Song Kang-ho could rise above a couple of them. Potentially, Ryan Gosling as Sebastian in La La Land. I think he does a really good job. I think he did incredible. But Ryan Gosling has this thing for me where he's Ryan Gosling. You know, like I look at you and I go, you're not playing a character. You are Ryan Gosling playing a character.
Yeah.
And the other one, crazy enough, is Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort. I think he's awesome as Jordan Belfort, though. That's why he was my second option. I really like gut Ryan Gosling as Sebastian is the one who I would cut. You got any thoughts there? If you were to replace, do you think anyone should be replaced?
Well, I was going the other direction. I'm like, okay, well, it's definitely not. There's people who I am throwing in here. Well, I think there's only, I don't even know. I think.
What's crazy is looking at this, I think there's only one surefire stick, and it's making me go, oh, wait, I think I know who's going to win. Which is nuts. But.
Yeah.
But,
I think yeah. Wow. Now that I thought this category was a lot, like, more full of, like, really really good roles, but then now the more I look at it, it's like, there's two that are, like, good, really good, and then the rest are just like
they could come and go, So let's make it clear for the people what we've got in the best actor category while we talk about this. We got Daniel Kaluuya as Chris in Get Out, Daveed Diggs as Colin in Blind Spotting, Jamie Foxx as Django in Django Unchained, Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street, Matthew McConaughey as Cooper in Interstellar, Steve Carell as Mark Baum in The Big Short, and Ryan Gosling as Sebastian in La La Land. Now here's the thing. My immediate gut went Steve Carell as Mark Baum, but then I remembered his performance as Mark Baum, and I went, that's no doubt the best performance of that movie. And it's not close.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if that's the one we eliminate, but is it the one we eliminate? Is it just? And I want your honest opinion. Do you think Song Kang-ho, the performance he gives, is strong enough to replace one?
Yes, because it's not even just the end murder thing that happens that is good from him. Even at the very beginning where he's doing everything he can to fold the pizza boxes correctly, and he's doing everything for his family, and 25% of them or whatever are not done well, and he's he's like, okay, I can't get mad, we're trying our best, and he's just holding it in. He has a lot of just really strong moments, and then after the flood, whenever he's talking to his son, and he's just the best plan is just no plan at all.
Can't go wrong that way.
And dude.
Yeah, that shit was devastating. In the car the next day after taking her to the supermarket, where she's like, "This rain was a blessing. This is something we needed. I'm so glad we got it," and it destroyed his home. It destroyed everything he loved at his home. And she's like, "This was exactly what we needed." He was upended. His life changed, and it was just another day for her. They needed it. They needed the rain.
Yeah.
It was the way he's just sitting up there. The fact that when she's saying that, she's like ooh, she plugs her nose slightly with her finger as she talks, and it's oh god. Every time they made an allusion to the fact that he doesn't smell good, the way he reacts is just heartbreaking. And here's my take, and I haven't ever had this take until I watched it this time. I think the daughter nails it on the head when she's it's not about the soap. It's not about what we do. It's not about the fabric softener we use. It's not about the laundry detergent. If we want to escape this smell, we have to move out of this place. We have to elevate in class. And that's when I realized that potentially there isn't a smell. There is a smell, and it's different than what the rich people are used to, but it's not necessarily a terrible smell. It's just, it smells like you don't have money.
Ooh. Yeah. Because he's having a hard time explaining it to his wife whenever they're having that conversation on the couch.
What does he go to? It smells like the people on a subway.
Yeah.
No way everybody on a subway smells the same, bro. No way. You're telling me he smells like poor.
Yeah. Dang.
And then to not only talk shit on him like he smells like a subway there, but then to cuck him? Not knowingly, obviously. They're laying under the table, hiding in their home.
In front of his family, too.
In front of his kids. He mentions the cheap panties that they found in the car, which are his daughter's. And that's what makes you go, that's why he kills this motherfucker. It's not even because of this dude, It's because of what he represents. It's this thing he doesn't have, he never will have, and he doesn't even realize how good he has it. He complains about all this tiny shit that does not matter. It's just, he was fed up with his place in the social hierarchy. He's fed up with everything going on in the best way in that moment for him to take his anger out is to kill the very opposite of him. At least social status wise.
That being said, he's definitely deserving of a spot in here.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan Gosling is the one out here.
That's unbelievable. But yeah, I don't have doubts anymore. I think he is too. Like I said, Ryan Gosling is Ryan Gosling. He does great as Sebastian. You know, I really love that performance, and I love the character, but I don't think he reaches the dimensions. No, you had it right.
Really?
Yes.
Because it says as.
That's his. That's what he's credited as.
Okay, I'm like, why? I don't know why. That just
the actor is Song Kang-ho.
Okay.
As Kai-tak. But I have no doubts. I like Ryan Gosling, but he is just Ryan Gosling. The other one that eventually emerged as like the potential, like, oof, maybe they're going is Steve Carell as Mark Baum. But I don't look at that role and go, well, that's Steve Carell. You know, I kind of go like, wow, I can't believe Steve Carell pulled that off. You know, like, and that's what's impressive about it. But Song Kang-ho absolutely destroys it as Kai-tak here, and not his only collaboration with Bong Joon-Ho. He was also in Snowpiercer a few years back. Also stars Chris Evans and our boy Ed Harris. Can't recommend that movie enough. Another capitalist critique, like this one is. So very, very entertaining. I think I gotta throw a Best Supporting Actress nod to So-Dam Park as Ki-jung. Luckily, we have one left. Beautiful. Don't have to eliminate anyone. The only thing where I'm like, do we have work to do is the Best Supporting Actor category. Do you feel like Kevin, the son, is worthy of a nom here potentially?
Ooh.
Choi Woo-sik as Ki-woo.
Well, let's see. I guess let's run through these people and see if he's better than any of them.
All right, so we got Leonardo DiCaprio again as Calvin in Django Unchained, Samuel L. Jackson as Steven in Django Unchained, Christoph Waltz as Dr. King Schultz in Django Unchained, Jonah Hill as Donnie Azoff in The Wolf of Wall Street, Rafael Casal as Miles in Blindspotting, Christian Bale as Michael Burry in The Big Short, and Bradley Whitford as Dean in Get Out. And I've got to be honest, I don't think he unseats anyone here.
Yeah, no, those are all pretty strong.
And I loved Kevin's role in this. I really did. But I don't know. I will say, because we've got a couple spots left in the Best Actress, I say we throw one. I say we go Cho Yo-jung as the trophy wife here, Young Kyo. Because frankly, she's brilliant in this role. Like, she plays this impeccably well. I don't anticipate her to necessarily win that whole category with Kerry Washington as Broomhilda and Django, Margot Robbie as Naomi in The Wolf of Wall Street, Anne Hathaway as Brand in Interstellar, Emma Stone as Mia in La La Land, Allison Williams as Rose in Get Out. You know, it's a pretty strong category we've got going so far. So it will be interesting, to be sure. But yeah. I think this is what you're going to get, and I have no doubts that Charles Randolph and Adam McKay can get the fuck out of here in favor of Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-woon for Parasite. The Big Short can eat my ass when it's compared to Parasite, man. Like, that's not even close. I'm so glad we had like a built-in automatic out here.
That's easy. And Parasite. There
just an incredible film, man.
Yeah, it was an amazing first watch. I'm so glad that I've finally seen this movie, and then I've talked about it now. I know I'm in the know, finally, and yeah, this is I don't know. It had every aspect of a movie that I want. Got my heart racing. Got emotional. The keeping me on my toes. You know, I didn't know what was happening next. But at the same time, I was so excited to see it unravel right before me. I don't know. It was fun. It was quite the experience.
And it was insanely well done. Like Bong Joon-Ho. After I watched this for the first time, I went, okay, now I'm gonna go watch everything Bong Joon-Ho's ever done that I have access to. You know, Okja on Netflix original, kind of criticizing the meat industry, which is awesome. You know, me as a vegetarian, you know, I'm really fucking with that movie, Okja. Snowpiercer, like I said, another class commentary. The Host, an incredible. He's got a knack for this horror-esque genre. Mother is another really good one, directed by Bong Joon-Ho. He's got a catalog on him, and the other ones that I've heard of that I have not gotten a chance to watch are Memories of Murder. I've heard that one's simply brilliant, and I've never gotten a chance to watch it, but yeah, Bong Joon-Ho, he's not to be slept on. Oh, and Memories of Murder also had Song Kang-ho in it. I don't know if you saw that, but
look at that.
Yep, lead role in that one. So Song Kang-ho and Bong Joon-Ho, kind of like the Daniel Kaluuya and Jordan Peele.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, they like to stick with their
director,
what
which
they're
is
comfortable
cool.
with. Yeah, it's such a cool that's such a cool duo that like I never thought of, like an actor and director duo that like is just it works.
There's some incredible actor director duos. I mean, like Bong Joon-Ho, Song Kang-ho here, Daniel Kaluuya, Jordan Peele, Christopher Nolan, Leonardo DiCaprio, I'd argue is pretty fucking strong. Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, also pretty strong there. We got some pretty great duos in this in that category, you know. But with that, are we about ready to give this whole thing a rating?
Oh yeah. Okay, those are just cool. I don't know. I kind of want to visit that, like actor.
Yeah, we'll come back to that for a topic.
Duo.
I think we've actually done something. Me and Tavares have done something with that in the past, like very early on in the podcast, like 3.5 years ago, early. But
we need to
so Parasite,
on this bad boy.
Is this our first streak of 4-5 enjoyments in a row?
I was gonna ask. I'm like, because really the only part of the movie that's like, I don't know if it's, I wouldn't really say it's not enjoyable. It's just slower. It's just, you know, getting used to the family, you know, getting used to all the characters. It's like setting up everything. It's not boring. It's not slow. It's just, you don't know what's going on yet. And yeah, every little detail's important. So it's like, there's not really a part of the movie where you're like, all right, let's get to it. Like, that never happens. And it's like, and then when the switch happens, it is just full gas, no brakes. Like,
here's the thing.
Whole time.
I'm going to lay the groundwork one more time for everyone with our rating scale. You know, I always assume that if you're here, you've listened to all 50 years or 50 weeks of this podcast where we discuss this shit. But we got 3 separate ratings. We've got out of 5 stars, how much we enjoyed it. That's just how much it connected with us. It's incredibly subjective. It's all entirely based on how we feel about it. Then we've got out of 5 stars, how well it fulfills its genre. This will be interesting because it's potentially the most effective genre blending movie I've ever seen in my life. It's impeccably well done. And then the last rating is just overall as a film, how well it's made, how well it's acted, how well it's just all the critical things that go into filmmaking. That's the critical rating there. And then we take the average of those numbers, and it becomes our rating for the film out of 5 stars. So obviously, with enjoyment factored in, it's not entirely objective, but that's what gives it the Penny Bloom flair. So that's why we do it. This is a 5 out of 5 enjoyment. There is no doubt. It's one of those movies where people are like, I don't know what movie to watch. I'm kind of looking for something. I'm gonna go watch Parasite.
This is gonna be a fun one to revisit. Like, I can't wait to watch this again, and I am going to go in. It's got to be nighttime. When I watch it again, I feel like it's just a movie that's elevated by nighttime. And I don't know. I'm gonna look for all the little foreshadowing, like little hints and stuff like that. Oh,
and there's so many metaphors and deeper meanings to shit that I didn't even go into because, frankly, I'm not smart enough to. I'm not gonna come in here and act like I notice every single little thing about this movie. I noticed some great shit, as this was like my, I don't know, 5th watch of this movie probably. I've watched this several times. I've tried to show it to everybody that I could possibly show it to, but I often get the response, I don't want to watch a foreign film. And I can't express enough how much this changed the game for me in terms of, there are so many more movies I can watch because I can just read that little bit of subtitle at the bottom and still get every bit as much impact.
That's the thing. It's only for the first 5-10 minutes that you even realize that you're reading subtitles, and then it just goes away. And you're just... It's almost like you're understanding their language. It's
incredible.
Weird. Yeah.
Sometimes I remember lines earlier in the movie as though they spoke them in English, and then I'm like, wait a second, no, they are speaking Korean. They're not speaking English.
It's such a weird feeling.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I think back to line deliveries, and I hear it in my head in English, and then I'm like, that's not right, and that's nuts, and that's why I especially Korean films, there's a lot of great options out there for you, and Parasite is a great way to dip your toe into the water. And obviously this was only our second foreign film on the 52-year journey through film. Our last one was back in the 70s with the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, but there's so much more out there in the foreign film game, and I cannot emphasize enough how much it'll open up you to movies you never knew existed that are probably going to become some of your favorites of all time.
Yeah, it's up there. I'm trying to think of movies that I obviously will put above this, and there's not many.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it too, is it kind of sneaks up on you. You finish the movie and you're like you're watching it and you're like, yeah, this is solid. This is good. I'm really enjoying it. You get to the end, you finish the movie and it just sits with you. You just let that shit seep into your mind and your soul, and you're like, oh, I don't know that I've ever watched a better movie in my life. And that's it. It's one of the best movies ever. I have a little doubt about that, and that's why for the genre rating, even though it is so genre blending, it does it more effective than any movie we have on this 52-year journey through film. I mean, is there anything at all you can compare to it of the last 55 movies that we've covered?
The closest, and the only reason I say this is Get Out. And that's just because of the Jordan Peele feel that I got for the movie. But as far as Get Out's not really genre blending. There's a little bit of comedy to Get Out, but not the first half of this movie where it's lighthearted.
You always feel the suspense. You always know that this is going to go wrong.
Yeah.
You have no inkling of that in the first 30 minutes of this movie. First hour of this movie, you think it is laid back as fuck. You think you're just watching an enjoyable comedy.
Yeah. Until it's up until they're chilling in the living room, just having drinks, having a good old time as a family, and then the old housekeeper rings the doorbell. from that point, it's that point on. Like
everything changes.
Yeah.
And the pace of the back half of this movie,
bam,
dude.
bam,
since
bam,
I've seen this
bam,
movie
bam.
so many times, I'm like I know what the ending is. Obviously, like it's whenever they're starting to set up for the garden party. Whenever she gives them a call and is like, "We would love it if you came to Dong So's birthday party tonight, or birthday party today. Be here at 1 p.m." I went, "Oh fuck!" There's like 20 minutes left in this movie, and I was like, "That's fucking nuts!" The last 45 minutes have just melted away. Like
wow.
It's so goddamn good because I don't think I realized just how big of a chunk of the movie their night where they think they have the house to themselves is. That was a good amount of
time. That was a good amount of time.
Because it also leads to them staying there for a lot of the night. It leads to the whole sex scene between the parents while the kids outside in the Native American teepee. And it's so interesting too because I'm curious. I would like to read up more on Bong Joon-Ho's intentions with all of the Native American imagery and stuff that he includes in this movie, and I wonder if it has anything to do with the exploitation of Native Americans in America. Like I wonder if there's something that's like if there's some sort of deeper meaning that I'm failing to seep in with me.
The connection I was trying to make was that, like they kept bringing up the word like pretending, that he's pretending to be Native American. Like it's not like it's a made up thing that like it's sort of like it's an idea that we know is bad, but we're like it's made up. We didn't, it's better not to think about it. What the way it actually happened, sort of like how we celebrate Thanksgiving.
Gotcha.
And I guess if there's any connection there, I remember them like saying the word like pretending, and then like his art
at the end whenever he's like, "This is so embarrassing."
Yeah, his art therapist like gets him to take off all the Native American stuff and bow and be respectful, and the mom is like, "Oh, finally!" Like he's done being crazy, like he's done being crazy, and he was just pretending to be Native American.
Interesting. All right, I dig that perspective. I wonder if there is. I need to read up on it more because like I like that interpretation, especially the pretending aspect that you're speaking on. Like it's something mythic that, especially in South Korea, like it is so distant. Like it's not something that's like directly pressing to their history, Native Americans, but like I do wonder how much of this movie is, because it is a capitalist commentary, it is a class commentary, it is obviously very easily applicable to the United States. Like, this is not so far fetched for an American viewer to be like, wow, this is so foreign to me. No, like this might as well be happening in America. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and this did not have. Oh, this is only happening like in this one place. This that did not get that feeling through the movie. I'm like, nah, this is hitting pretty close to home.
Well, it's just
easily.
The capitalist of it, the separation of the classes. It's too stark to not be relatable for Americans. But so we got a 5 out of 5 in enjoyment, a 5 out of 5 in genre. What are we thinking for the film? The critical rating of this movie, is it that level? Is it amongst our 4 9s?
It's good. It is not that good. I don't think. I literally think it's either 4.85 or it ties Get Out. Maybe.
Here's my thing.
Because what is wrong with it?
There you go. I can't think of a single goddamn thing. If I'm thinking critically, just pure how well the movie was made, how well it was written, how the story ends up, how it all turns out, I honestly think it's a better movie than Jaws. I think it's a better movie than The Shining. And I'm gonna go a little brazy here because it's a top 2 favorite movie of mine all time. I think it might be better than Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
how it's made?
Purely critical. I struggle.
Okay, you know what? Yeah. Like,
the only 2 that I can come close to being like, you know what, maybe not, are The Godfather and Shawshank Redemption. That's it. Like, and that's just because those were exquisitely well written and well shot movies, all the same as Parasite. You know, the thing that Parasite has going for it is that it is so much more than just one thing. The Shining, Jaws, and Raiders all feel like they are just one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not a bad thing. Obviously, they're some of the greatest movies of fucking all time.
I propose an idea.
Hit me with it. Godfather,
Shawshank become 5. Parasite leads the 4-9 category. But The Godfather and Shawshank become a 5.
All right. Now, hear me out on this. They become 4-9-5s.
Ooh. Okay.
Because if they both become 5s, they become 5s across the board.
That's true.
They become purely perfect films. And, like, I'm not in a place to tell you they are purely perfect films.
But I like the switch up here. I think there is a noticeable jump. Noticeable. Okay, 0.05. Noticeable.
Well,
but
that's
like
the thing. With our rating system, it has become noticeable. You know, like there are tiers within our tiers.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
but this, I like that better. Not a 5. That was a little too nuts of me there. But this works right here.
We will have to edit it over on the other slate over here as well. But that puts it at a 4.97. Which gives us a new high for the decade. In a decade that already had a 4.95, a 4.95, a 4.96, and a 4.9. That's nuts. That is 5 movies above a 4.9 in the decade. That's 5 movies. Half the decade above a 4.9. That's not fair.
Averaging, it ties it with Godfather, Raiders, and Shawshank overall.
Well, not yet.
Wait.
Because we need to edit The Godfather and Shawshank.
Dope. The Godfather becomes... hello, here I am. 4.95. I guess Shawshank will also become a 4.98, right? Because it was a 5 and 5.
Yeah.
So they become 4.98.01 above.
Hey, and these distinctions are important. You know, that's Raiders.
Dope. But nice. Okay, I think it's an important distinction though. This tier, the 0.01 difference.
It's a difference. It's a difference nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how good this movie is, man. And talking about it only made me go, yeah, it is that good. You know, like it's an absurdly good movie. And with that, we conclude the decade of the 2010s. Parasite comes to a 4.97 out of 5 stars overall, making the decade, I believe, our second best yet.
Oh, 4.61. Oh, 4.66 the 90s. Yeah, the second it's in second place, only to the 90s.
Yeah, and I will point out that the 90s possessed our 3 5s in a row for enjoyment. It also had 2 different runs of 3 5s in a row.
Yeah.
And the extra, 6 movies in there probably, I think it
ended up hurting it. I think when we did the math,
we've already come to that conclusion.
If we put Shawshank as the official movie for that year, if Shawshank, which is the best out of them all. So, yeah.
It is
I think it's a wash 90s, pretty much. But
yeah, it is nuts that the 90s has 2 movies above a 4.9. Meanwhile, the 10s has 5. Or is it 4? No, it's 5. It's 5 movies above a 4.9. It's those early. It's Inception, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Django Unchained, and The Big Short. They really put a damper on the decade, And not to say they're bad; those are all fun films to watch, and in most cases, wonderfully made. But we talk pretty incredible movies here. We're not like we're going to take a chance this week. Not often anyway. We did Spaceballs, so that is
had to have one movie like that though in here. It wouldn't be fair if we didn't dip our toes into something a little more experimental.
And I mean, all this to say, nothing will ever be Scooby-Doo.
That's also fair. We did, we had to include a movie that was kind of, we knew wasn't going to be good, and we had to throw in the greatest creation of all time, the complete polar opposites. So we've covered all of the bases. From Scooby-Doo to Spaceballs, we've covered it.
That's true. We've hit all the boxes. But it was another incredible decade. I cannot wait to do this decade awards. I don't know why us doing the whole plugging it in as we went. I completely forgot that we would eventually have to actually do the award show. It felt like we were kind of doing it as we went. I'm very excited to get to the award show. And obviously, if you're here for the first time, we would love it if you went back, watched the movies that we've covered, listened to us talk about them. It's always getting feedback about specific movies. I recently got a little bit of a tweeted at me that was like, we had to check out the Spaceballs episode. It's one of our favorites of all time. I'm like, ooh, it's a rough one for you to listen to then because we're not very loving of it. But nevertheless, I love shit like that. So if you are going back and watching the movies to listen to our podcast, please tweet it at me or something. It's always so great. It's so great to see that feedback. And it's always greatly appreciated. And I cannot recommend it enough that you join us for these last 3 weeks of the decade. We're about to hit the 20s. And when the 20s end, we only have 20, 21, and 22. We will not be doing a 20s award show. We will simply be doing our overall award show where we take the winners from every award show we've done, the 70s award show, the 80s, the 90s, the aughts, the 10s. And we're just going to plug our automatic winners. We might do that on Patreon where we decide who the winners are and go ahead and plug them into the overall award show so as to, I don't know, feels like a wash to kind of just put 3 movies against each other. It doesn't feel like we're really getting a nice sizable palette, you know what I'm saying? But with that, thus ends the 10s for the Penny Bloom Podcast's 52-year journey through film. We are almost done. We are almost to that comic book movie project. And, after watching so many critically great films, I can't wait to realize just how bad several comic book movies are.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be so much fun.
It's just gonna be pure fun.
Fun.
And that's it. We're not expecting exquisite film.
I'm not out here man, comparing this to The Godfather, nah, I'm not going to be doing that. I don't know if Howard the Duck is necessarily Parasite. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, hey, we'll get to a Logan. We'll get to
the Batman.
Yeah, the Batman. We'll get to the Dark Knight. We'll
get to some goodies. We'll get to some goodies. But yeah, so we haven't talked about it in a while. We had a little bit of a sneak peek. But yeah, after this project concludes, we are going to be doing every major superhero movie ever every Friday. The movies will not stop coming to you on Fridays for the Penny Bloom Podcast. The horses don't stop. They keep going. It will continue here, but next year and in potentially years to come, it will be comic book movies every Friday here on the Penny Bloom podcast here for you, and we're going to kick it off next year with Batman 66, which I'm very, very excited for, and that'll come out in pretty much almost a month to the day from now, as it is, I believe, December 9th. So a little bit under a month. The Batman 66 will be released for you early 2023. Cannot wait to embark upon that journey. And but before that, we've got 3 weeks left, buddy. We got 2020, 2021, and 2022. We're doing Nomadland, Tick Tick Boom, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. And let me tell you, buddy, these last few weeks, after 2014 and on,
it's been a run.
Like 7 of these movies are like in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
And the only reason The Big Short is not in 4 nines and every other movie is because they just had to explain the housing crisis and how you know
sucks.
Yeah, and
that shit's painfully boring. Yeah, but they made it as interesting as they could. But it's just not enough. It's just not enough. So it will be extremely exciting to do this 2010s award show next week. That'll be our next episode coming at you, I believe. Depends on what we're covering at the moment, TV show wise. Could be either Monday, it could be Wednesday. I don't know what we're covering at the moment. Whatever it might be. Check it out though. But yeah, so with that, we conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. It was I, Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find well over 40 hours of content at this point. There's an absurd amount of content over there for you. I'm doing consistently every Thursday. I'm at least giving you a comic book pull list, what I've been reading throughout the week. DC, Marvel, Dark Horse, Image Comics, whatever it might be. It's all coming to you there. Boom Studios, I don't know. Fuck it, man. I'll do it. I'll review it. If I'm picking it up throughout the week, it's getting reviewed on patreon.com/CoroBloom. Whatever movies I might be seeing throughout the week, I'll throw up a review over there every once in a while because, you know, the main show is reserved for the best of the best. And the Patreon, you know, it's just me letting loose, talking about whatever the fuck I want to talk about or whatever the fuck we want to talk about, as Joseph is no stranger to the Patreon. That is, again, patreon.com/CoroBloom. Also a bunch of book reviews. I've read more than enough books this year, and the books will keep coming. The book reviews will keep coming. If you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod. Always appreciating that. Follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And the best plan is no plan at all.